Hi, everyone. Welcome to Naturally Immune for Life. Thank you for joining me today. And I just thought I would spend a little time speaking to you about my current place on YouTube or on any platform, social media, etc., etc., etc. And I don't know how I should even begin this, but I decided let's talk about chess. Did you know that chess is the only thing that can't be commoditized in any real sense that we understand commoditized? Um, it just simply becomes a psychological obsession to murder your opponent in a civil fashion on a level playing surface. So, people who engage in chess and become obsessed with it, they will literally give up any meaningful thing: sleep, food, career, money, um, value of their intellectual prowess. And most of them usually end up sleeping on a park bench because, as I said, it's something that really can't be commoditized. So we can take that analogy and place it in the digital world. It's something that really can't be commoditized. And the only actual value in an entire series of metrics in this particular arena is a CTR. And I determine the value of the CTR rate, and that's the only thing I am actually paying for, is that YouTube, Google, Gemini sends you from this particular address to that particular address. That's the CTR. And the content creator creates that value. And it's not reliant on content. It's not reliant on clicks. It's not reliant on views. It's not reliant on anything else. It's just that what I pay for is that you go from this address to that address, and what you do after you get there is entirely up to you. I have no control over that. I would not want to have any control over that. But what I will not do, which I have determined in my quote unquote real job, is that I will not let Gemini decide my fate. And I've already done that in my quote unquote real job when I saw that was clearly happening. And I left. I quit. I got out of that market and I quit. And I wouldn't be concerned about doing the same thing anywhere else, but I do have a right to expose the fraud behind it. and I will not get involved in another word or number salad with Gemini. It's that simple. Um, because you know what else doesn't require a human? A slot machine. A slot machine in a casino does not require a human. And I do not play in Vegas. I never have and I never will. And that's my prerogative. And I assume that's your prerogative. But I just don't play. I don't play chess. I'm not psychologically obsessed with murdering my opponent. I am psychologically obsessed with murdering capitalism, and my sworn enemy, but that's another story. Um, I'm not psychologically obsessed about chess or Vegas. So I determined personally that what I'm going to do is I am just going to choose the most neutral, innocuous subjects that I can think of that won't get me quote unquote flagged and keep it short, keep it simple, pay for the only actual value I am paying for, which is again a CTR, and that is to enable you to go from this address to that address. And again, I determine as the content creator, I determine the CTR. And that's the bottom line. And that's the only thing I care about is on the worldwide highway to hell that I can Google will send you from this address to that address. And it's that simple. And because I am good at analytics and I can determine precisely whether that's happening or not, and I can determine whether Gemini is controlling an outcome or not, because certain things just drop off the radar, as they did in my quote unquote other career, my real career. That's when you realize there's no point in putting your chips on the table. That's the point you realize that. And yeah, I just happen to be very good at that by nature, by my nature, not my intelligence, my nature. So, okay, this week's posts. Microbiome is a source of B vitamins. Hopefully, no one finds that offensive. I'll try not to throw around numbers like 90%, 99.1%, or words like essential. But B vitamins are essential. So, B vitamins are a group of water soluble nutrients that play essential roles. Sorry, forgot that word was in there. In nearly every aspect of human metabolism. It function primarily as coenzymes, helping the body carry out hundreds of biochemical reactions involved in energy production, DNA synthesis, nervous system function, and immune regulation. Are these B vitamins the core component of your system? No. They are in a chain and in a what would be the word? A food chain. They're in a food chain, and they are not the first thing in a food chain. So let me make that clear. They are essential. They are important, and you definitely need them, but they are not the first element in a food chain. The relation, okay. Although these vitamins are traditionally associated with preventing deficiency diseases, recent research has revealed that they also have important effects on gut health and the composition of the intestinal microbiome. The relationship between B vitamins in the gut is complex because these nutrients not only influence the host but also affect the growth, metabolism, and interaction of the trillions of microorganisms that reside in the digestive tract. The human gut microbiome consists of a vast majority of bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other microorganisms that contribute to digestion, immune development, and overall health. Many members of this microbial community can synthesize B vitamins, while others depend on obtaining them from their environment, creating an intricate network nutrient exchange within the gut ecosystem. Some bacterial species produce vitamins that can be used by neighboring microbes, while other species compete for the same nutrients, and as a result, the availability of B vitamins can influence which microbial populations thrive and which decline. These interactions help shape the overall composition and stability of the gut microbiota. Several gut bacteria are capable of producing important B vitamins, including thiamine, riboflavin, thiamine, B1, riboflavin, B2, niacin, B3, pantothenic acid, B5, pyridoxine, B6, biotin, B7, folate, B9, and cobalamin. But not all bacteria possess the genetic machinery required to synthesize every vitamin. Some species are self-sufficient, whereas others rely on vitamins produced by neighboring microbes or supplied through the diet. This interdependence creates a highly connected microbial community in which nutrient availability can influence bacterial diversity and ecological balance. Researchers have also found that many beneficial gut bacteria participate in vitamin production, highlighting another way in which the microbiome contributes to host health. Among the B vitamins, folate and vitamin B12 are particularly important because they participate in one-carbon metabolism, a series of biochemical reactions required for DNA synthesis and cellular growth. Deficiencies in these vitamins can impair cell division and affect rapidly growing tissues, including the intestinal lining, and because the cells lining the gut are consistently renewed, an adequate supply of these nutrients is essential for maintaining intestinal integrity. When deficiencies occur, the barrier function of the intestine may become compromised, increasing susceptibility to inflammation and disease. B vitamins also play a significant role in maintaining immune function. Several members of the vitamin B family contribute to the development and activity of immune cells that help protect the body from infection. For example, vitamins B6, B9, and B12 are involved in the production and maturation of lymphocytes, which are essential components of the adaptive immune system. Insufficient levels of these vitamins may impair immune responses and contribute to chronic inflammation. Since the gut contains a large portion of the body's immune cells, disruptions in vitamin availability can have important consequences for intestinal health and immune function. Research has demonstrated that deficiencies in B vitamins can affect the structure and function of the gastrointestinal tract. Inadequate levels may alter intestinal morphology, reduce the efficacy of nutrient absorption, and impair the maintenance of the epithelial barrier that separates gut microbes from underlying tissues. Damage to this barrier can promote inflammation and increase the risk of gastrointestinal disorders. Studies have linked deficiencies in various B vitamins to conditions characterized by intestinal dysfunction, highlighting the importance of adequate vitamin intake for maintaining a healthy digestive system. The relationship between B vitamins and the microbiome is bidirectional. While vitamins influence microbial growth, gut microbes can also affect the host vitamin status. Certain bacterial species contribute significantly to the production of vitamins that may be absorbed and utilized by the host. Changes in the composition of the microbiome, whether due to diet, antibiotic use, illness, or other factors, can therefore alter vitamin production within the intestine. This has led researchers to investigate whether manipulating the microbiome through probiotics, prebiotics, or other dietary interventions could enhance vitamin synthesis and improve health outcomes. Emerging evidence suggests that disruptions in vitamin microbiome interactions may contribute to a variety of gastrointestinal disorders. Conditions such as inflammatory bowel disease, irritable bowel syndrome, and other inflammatory disorders are often associated with altered microbial communities and nutritional imbalances. Although the exact mechanisms remain under investigation, researchers surmise that deficiencies in certain B vitamins may exacerbate intestinal inflammation and impair the body's ability to maintain a healthy gut environment. Conversely, restoring adequate vitamin levels may help support intestinal healing and promote microbial balance. Now, do we know how important vitamins are? Yes, we do, especially those involved in birth defects. But again, are they the first the first element in a chain reaction? No, they aren't. Okay. The growing understanding of B vitamins and gut health has important implications for nutrition and disease prevention. Rather than viewing vitamins solely as a dietary requirements for the host, scientists now recognize them as key factors influencing the ecology of the gut microbiome. These nutrients help regulate microbial interactions, support intestinal barrier function, contribute to immune health, and participate in numerous metabolic pathways essential for both host and microbial survival. As research continues, a deeper understanding of vitamin microbe relationships may lead to new strategies for improving digestive health through personalized nutrition and microbiome targeted therapies. In summary, B vitamins serve far more functions than simply preventing deficiency diseases. They are integral components of a dynamic relationship between the host and the gut microbiota, though through their effects on metabolism, immune regulation, microbial ecology, and intestinal integrity, B vitamins play a central role in maintaining gut health. and overall well-being. Continued research in this area is expanding our understanding of how nutrition and the microbiome work together to support human health throughout life. So, I've also included, can you micromanage this? Probably not. But I've also included a chart here for you that tells you um, each particular B vitamin, the bacteria, about the bacteria that can produce it, about the effects of this particular malnutrition. And I've also, since this was an open access article, I've also included each particular vitamin in a cut and paste because the pathways and the pathways, the cycles, the biosynthesis, it gets so complicated that the transporters, the enzymes, etc., it gets so complex that I really didn't feel like breaking all of that down. And since it is, I just saw a typo in their text. But anyway, since it's so complex and this is an open access paper, I pretty much did that in a copy and paste section for you if you want to learn more about it. I personally don't take synthetic vitamins. I take food-based vitamins. And I try to get all of my nutrition in that. And I have written in the past about how they have added specific microbes to specific foods to increase the levels of vitamin B nutrients. But whether you can personally micromanage that would be a long shot. You should just be aware that it exists, basically. And in the end, what it might do is make vitamins more available to your human system in a way that your human system can recognize. So that's the importance of that. So then I'm also going to go back here to the About page and show you what the WHO says and how we can determine hierarchies of value and some other news you might be interested in. But again, that's up to you whether you find it interesting or not, or whether you find it valuable or not. Okay, so the WHO has determined that in the hierarchy of chronic disease risk, that breastfeeding, nutritious food, and clean water and sanitation, those go together, are critical for shaping a person's mammal's developing immune system and gut health, in that order. That's a hierarchy. So then, in 2023, They also determined a hierarchy that gut dysbiosis is caused by a variety of mechanisms, including improper infant gut development from formula feeding, microbiome imbalance, immune dysregulation, pro-inflammatory mechanisms, and metabolic activities. So, dysbiosis leads to various T cell related diseases, including, and then there's a list, and these are under T cell interactions. And then they determined, what do we mean by T cells? Well, there are several different types of T cells. But one important T cell is TREGs, regulatory T cells. And it took a long time to determine this, the importance of regulatory T cells. But in 2025, the people who did determine the importance of regulatory T cells won the Nobel Prize. Now, I didn't win the Nobel Prize. All I did was connect the dots between this scientific development in a timeline and using statistical analysis regarding its importance, just like the WHO did. So I'm going to share this part with you. The 2025 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine has been awarded to Mary Brunkow, Fred Ramsdell, and Shimon Sakaguchi for their discoveries concerning peripheral immune tolerance. The award honors the discovery of a unique subset of immune cells, regulatory T cells, TREGs, which differ fundamentally from most immune cells that typically promote inflammation. So they differ fundamentally, which is a very important understanding as to what fundamentally means. TREGs suppress immune activation, maintain immune, so fundamentally as compared to all other T cells. TREGs suppress immune activation, maintain immune homeostasis, and prevent immune mediated tissue destruction. Without TREGs, the immune system fails to regulate itself, leading to catastrophic multi-organ autoimmunity. And that is the words from this news item coming from, let me see, the author, the publisher. Well, it's coming from NIH, but let me get you to the actual publisher of where NIH received this. Let's see if it even says. It shows the 3 pictures. It tells you a little bit about the history, which they have a long and challenging path from the 1970s onwards. I cannot find the actual author of this. I cannot find the actual publisher of this. Let me see if I click here. Oh, Uppsala Journal of Medical Sciences. That picture is there, but I wasn't sure if that was an ad or something else. Okay, so that's who published it. And you can follow the history. And you can just determine for yourself if those particular cells and that particular determination means anything to you or not. And that's all I can do. And that's all I am going to do. And that's all I'm going to pay for is that you can go from this address to that address, and what you do after you get there is up to you. And both are perfectly legal in this country, at least. So there's nothing else I can say about that. But I thank you so much for your time, which I do find valuable, and my time, which I do find valuable. And I hope you will at least support me in the fundamental principles of language, numbers, and meaning. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much again, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye. Sorry, I'm back. Forgot a very important sentence. In the hierarchy of meaning, which everyone who would employ if they were writing anything, and that is the determination of a condition known as SAM, severe acute malnutrition. So let me quote this for you from WHO, which I am also not a part of, but this is a worldwide determination by the research community and the scientific community. It's a consensus. It's not an opinion. It's a validated consensus. So, let me get up here to their statement. Oh, wait a minute, because I rewrote it in simple language on top. And it's actually pasted verbatim in the sources. Okay. Who? Breastfeeding, food security, and water security, sanitation are major protective factors against malnutrition and critical factors in the maturation of a healthy gut microbiota. Now, when we use the word maturation, that implies that something is immature and then it develops to be mature. Characterized by a transient bifidobacterial bloom before a global rise in anaerobes. Now, this implies a timeline or a reaction or anything else that would belong in a chain. Early depletion in gut Bifidobacterium longum, a typical maternal probiotic known to inhibit pathogens, represents the first step. Again, another very important word, first step, in gut microbiota alteration associated with severe acute malnutrition. Again, what came first? The alteration of the microbiota. Later, the absence of the healthy, mature anaerobic gut microbiota, which they assigned that acronym to them, HMAGM, leads to a deficient energy harvest, vitamin biosynthesis, and immune protection, and is associated with diarrhea, malabsorption, and systemic invasion by microbial pathogens. A therapeutic diet and infection treatment may be unable to restore bifidobacteria and HMAGM. And the source is Science Direct, first of all. And that comes from microbial pathogenesis. And the the initiative the initiative to prevent SAM was undertaken by who? And it was a 2017 Millennium Goal. And I just reported on it. That's all I did. And what you do with that information is up to you. Same thing. Okay, everyone. Then I also include the sources. And if you would like to buy that entire paper, you're perfectly welcome to buy that entire paper. Or you can just follow the references that they provide you in that paper to understand the entire paper. And then you can also follow whose statistical analysis of which people are getting this on the planet and which people are not. Okay, I'll talk to you later. And that was a very important thing that I skipped to for you to understand fundamental hierarchies of value that anyone would put in a narrative. Okay, bye. Thanks again.